Hey everybody, Nick here. I got a great question from my friend Angie. She asked me if it was possible to take a chart like this. This was a deviation lollipop chart, a vertical lollipop chart that she sent me. And she said, is it possible to flip this on its side so that it is a horizontal lollipop? And how easy might it be? So we've made deviation lollipop charts before. I'm going to link above and below to that video. So go and check that out if you want to know how to make this one. But it is possible to make a horizontal version of the deviation lollipop. It's a great little chart to show the difference between 2 points. You're not actually showing the pre and the post value. You're actually visualizing the change between the two. So we can do this in a horizontal way. It's just going to take a little bit more trickery behind the scenes in Excel and PowerPoint. So it's going to look something like this. Once I click over there, it's going to be just like this. So we're going to have our item labels there on the left-hand side. That's going to be our vertical axis there, our y-axis. And then we're going to have our x-axis. And you can see that the values that are negative are going to be colored orange. The values that are positive are going to be colored blue. I'm not going to do any dynamic workaround for that. We're actually just going to update those manually today. So I'm going to show you how to manually update those colors. This would be for a chart that isn't going to change. It's you have one single chart and you want to put it into your slide or your report. It's a one and done. Okay. So here we're going to go. I'm going to escape out of this slide and I want to show you what our Excel file here kind of behind the scenes might look like. I'm just going to scroll up this way. This is going to be our horizontal line, so our horizontal lollipop chart. So right here in column E, these are going to be our labels, our Y labels, or group labels. These are our item labels. Maybe these are survey questions or groups or something like that. And then in here, in my data set, I do have just kind of a dummy set of fake data from point A to point B, or pre and post. In this case, it's 2025 data versus 2026 data. You're going to calculate the difference between those things. And so this is this value right here, the difference, that's going to be our X value that you can see in the chart. Remember, for a lollipop like this to be horizontal, we're going to start with a XY scatter plot. So we also need a set of Y values. Those Y values aren't really meaningful for data in the chart, but they are for building the chart. So the Y values kind of show us the spacing between the two, the vertical spacing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's always going to be in sequence order. And then right here, you can also see that I have an extra set of y-axis label for the x values, which are going to be set at whatever your negative, your most negative value is going to be in this chart, if you want your labels to be on the left side. So that's going to be another little workaround. That's probably the most onerous part of these kinds of horizontal charts. So we're going to go ahead and let's just make them from scratch. I'm actually just going to copy our x values. That's really what we're going to need here. I'm going to minimize this. In PowerPoint, we're going to start right from the placeholder. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on my little chart icon. You could do this from the Insert Chart tab too. Let's go ahead and insert an XY scatter. And remember, PowerPoint is great. It's going to give us these dummy data. I'm going to go ahead and just paste in my X values into the chart right here. And let's go ahead and I'm actually just going to insert a column here. And another thing that I might actually do when you make a chart in PowerPoint, it becomes this dynamic table. So what I want to do is actually I want to convert this dynamic table to a range, because it kind of gets a little unwieldy when the table is dynamic for the chart. So let's click on this little Excel icon here. It's going to edit data in Microsoft Excel. It'll open the full Excel window. I'll maximize this here. You can see this little caret here. That means that we're in a dynamic table. You also know that because the table design tab pops up. Let's click on that. And then I'm just going to click on convert to range over in tools. So let's convert that to range. We'll say yes. And now it's no longer a dynamic table here. So I have 5 values. This is my Y values. I'm going to say, let's just delete these right now. Oops. And actually this was just my, my paste here. So I have an extra row that I can just delete. So these are my X value data. This is going to be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. These will be my item names. Label 1, label 2, label 3, 4, label 5. That's fine. That's going to be whatever is yours there. And remember, I was going to also make that extra label for the Y values, but let's just do that afterwards. I'm going to do that as a second step. So let's go ahead and close out of this. We know we're good here. Now, you can kind of see it's sort of done some weird things here. I'm going to delete the title of the chart. We don't need that. What I need to do now is say select data so that I can reselect all of the data and kind of point everything in the chart to where it needs to go. So we're going to click on select data to get that data menu to pop up, the data source. And right here, you can say it says Y values. I'm just going to remove this altogether. We're going to add a new series. So I'm going to say add. The series name is going to be that difference. The X values are going to be what's in my column B, those values right here. And then I'm going to push enter, and then the Y values are going to be in C. So we're going to push enter there and click OK. Let's click out of here, and now you can see the really great basis of our chart right here. Let's go ahead, click on our dots. We're going to format these. Let's just make them a little bit bigger so that we can see them. I'm going to put them up to 20. Let's actually put them up to 30. And then what we're going to do is you can see that this, our y-axis is in the middle. Let's go ahead and click that and select, let's put that in the end. So it's going to be on the end here. We're going to go to the Format Axis menu. Down here under Labels, we're going to say, instead of next to axis, we want to say low. So we're going to put it low, and there you can see the axis is right there. Now we need our lollipop sticks, and what we're going to do for that is we're going to use error bars. So let's click on our data right there. Click on the little skittle icon, this little plus sign, and then I'm going to say error bars. Now both sets of error bars pop up. We don't need our Y one, so I'm going to delete those. Our X values, I'm just going to go ahead over here in the Format Data, Format Error Bar menu. We'll say minus, no cap, and then set percentage to 100%. That spans those error bars to the axis, and you can see it works both ways, from my negative and my positive values there. Let's go ahead and update the way that this looks. We're going to make this kind of a lighter gray. I'm going to put this all the way up to 15 and see how that looks. Okay, we like that. And now I'm just going to manually, I want these to stay blue, the positive values. The negative values I want to be orange. So I'm just going to go ahead and isolate each of these. Double click one dot, and that's going to be able to, you'll be able to isolate just that color. And we're going to update the fill color to orange. Make sure that that line color is also orange. And now I'm going to do the same thing with that one. So those are nice and orange. Let's go ahead and put some labels in here. Right click and say add data labels. We're going to make sure that we put these into the center. And then instead of the Y value selected, we're going to select X value. And let's just turn those white and nice and bold, maybe up to 14. That looks pretty good. And all right, so this gives us a nice basis of our chart. I don't think we need our horizontal grid lines, so I'm going to delete those. And now we just need our labels in here. Now this is where we have to add a new series into our chart. So we're going to go back to the Chart Design tab, click on Select Data, and the data source pops up. Now I'm going to click on Add again. We're going to add a new series. This is going to be, I'm just going to point to this cell right here because I'll type in a little header there. And I'm going to say my X values are going to be right here. This is where my X values are going to sort of be the dummy values for my labels. I'll push enter. The Y values, you're going to point to our Y value list right here. Perfect. Enter. And now I'm going to say, okay, now nothing happens right now because I haven't typed in anything. But watch what happens when I do this. I have to actually click OK. And we're going to go ahead and say Y labels. And then this is going to be whatever your most negative value is. So in my chart right here, it's negative 40. So let's go ahead, negative 0.4. And we're just going to go ahead and copy that value down the list. And now you can see my chart has started populated with my little dummy, or my dummy data markers right there. Now it also updated the axis on the chart. So I'm gonna let's go ahead and manually hard code these values. Let's go make the negative value 0.4 still, and the positive value 0.4. I wanna make sure that those are proportional on both sides. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add data labels to that dummy series of marker. Instead of the 5s, instead of that Y value, what we're going to do is open the Format Data Label menu and go to the Value from Cells. So I'm going to unselect Y and select Value from Cells. Now our data window pops up, and now I can say, hey, I want you to pull values from the item name label, or the item name column. So I'm just going to say, that's my range, okay. And now you can see my labels have appeared right there. Now I don't need those the markers anymore. So let's go back over here and just select none so that those disappear. And I think these labels can be on the left side of the marker. So let's go ahead and say the position is going to be left instead of right. If you need to update the plot area to fill your, to make sure that they're all aligned, that's a good thing too. Let's go ahead and just update the font here, nice and bold. And then we don't need our y-axis anymore. So I'm just going to go ahead and I could either delete it, or you can see that there's a whole value of 6 above and 0 below. If you wanted to fill the chart just a little bit more, you could even update this maximum value here to maybe something like 5.2 or 5.1, and then make sure that 0 stays intact. And when you do that, you can see it kind of fills the plot area a little bit more. You want to do that 5.1 or 5.2 so that depending on how big the dots are, because otherwise that top dot might get a little bit cut off. So just make sure that whatever you're using there, make sure that everything looks consistent there in terms of the shapes of those circles. So I'm going to go ahead and just click on that y-axis and remove it. And now I have a beautiful horizontal lollipop chart. The other thing I might want to do is I notice this horizontal axis line. Let's go ahead and just say no line to that. Make sure that things are sort of as minimal and clean as possible. From here, you can update maybe the font, maybe nice and black or chunky, nice and bold. And there we go, a nice deviation lollipop, a horizontal deviation lollipop. And it only took us, I don't know, a few minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. How long did this take us? So Angie, hopefully you like this. If you do, give a comment below. I know that you are an avid subscriber of this channel. And of course, Spotlight Impact Data Design actually came from you and a partnership that you and I used to have. So you were very generous enough to let me use the name of Spotlight Impact for a nice data viz biz over here. So everyone else, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and make sure to hit that subscribe button. You'll get notified every time I post a new video in data design, usually PowerPoint, Excel, or Word. Had a fabulous time making this for you, and I cannot wait to see you all next time.